great basketball.
Defender to the basket, Jason Tatum.
Be covering pre and post game back on this channel.
Welcome to Celtics Postgame Live, everybody. I'm Justin Lowe, alongside with me a couple of my co-hosts, Finn and Jack. Ian should be joining us later on. Rob might be popping in. He's at the game, so he's trying to make his way home. I'm sure the Garden's going nuts right now. This was a huge bounce-back win, guys. Celtics defeat the 76ers in Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Semifinals, 121-87. Joel Embiid makes his return coming off of winning the NBA MVP award last night. Comes in doubtful to play, then questionable, and then he says himself, I'm playing tonight. He played, didn't look all that great. Finn, you made a great point before we hit record. You were saying how he still looked a little injured, still looked a little shaken up. He played 26 minutes tonight, 15 points on 3 rebounds, 4 of 9 from the field, 3 turnovers, 2 fouls, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. Like, he didn't play all that great for the 76ers, but we'll dive into that first. Finn, you know the deal. Give us your thoughts on tonight's game. Just kind of quick run through.
I think tonight was exactly what the Celtics needed. Jason Tatum obviously struggled dealing with foul trouble, but it seems like everyone else, maybe outside of Al Horford, did tremendous. And that's the value of the Celtics team. Their depth is incredible. Like, I'm looking at a guy like Grant Williams, who hasn't really been getting minutes. And tonight he was arguably the MVP. Which is super, super good for the Celtics. Jaylen Brown was Jaylen Brown tonight. When Jason Tatum wasn't on the floor, he was doing his job. Marcus Smart had his moments. I think he went on a 5-0 run to close the half. And then Malcolm Brogdon, his shooting, can't leave him open, right? So I honestly thought, for the most part, the Celtics' depth just outplayed Philly tonight. When you go down the bench, man for man, the Celtics are just better than Philly.
For sure. I think defense, you can argue, made a huge impact on this game. I said it on our pod yesterday that I was really looking for that game, that we'd hold the team under 100, and it happened tonight. The defense that we played tonight was just it was great. Al Horford, Rob Williams, everyone's blocking shots, and just the defensive pressure. We were in shooters' faces. We were closing out. With the defense we played tonight was just it was damn near flawless. I believe, and with and you have Joel Embiid, the MVP of the league, and James Harden. We just saw what he could do on Monday night. If holding a team like that to 65 points in a half that's something.
Yeah, it is something, and I think the pressure, you guys mentioned it, the pressure was just there from the tip. And the Celtics took an early 12-point lead in the first half, and I was talking to Rob, and that Celtics took a 12-point lead in Game 1, and it just felt different. Like, it just felt like the Celtics were much more locked in on both ends of the floor. It's funny because I thought, watching Game 1, I thought the issue was on the defensive end. As Ian Angelo joins in, before I make my point, Ian, what's up? Give us your initial thoughts.
Oh, Ian.
Hey, that was a great win. That was a great win. That was something I feel like the Celtics desperately needed after Game 1. I don't know. There was a lot of mixed emotions after Game 1. So the fact that the Celtics came out there and blew out the 76ers with Jason Tatum only having 7 points is pretty incredible. And honestly, if the Celtics can play this way and Jason Tatum actually plays well, then it'll be a pretty scary sight for the 76ers in the rest of the series.
Yeah, it felt like a little mix between last year's defense and this year's offense. Like, we kind of got that perfect, I guess, like a little bit of each thrown in there. I thought tonight, I'm putting together a couple of defensive stats. 8 + 6 is what, 14? Game 1, the blocks and steals for the Celtics, combining the blocks and steals for the Celtics, they had 7. total between the blocks and steals. Tonight they had 14. They doubled that tonight. That just tells you how intensifying that defense was. I thought they shut down James Harden very, very well. I thought Brogdon struggled in the beginning of a couple one-on-one matchups with James Harden. But I just feel like they made Philly really uncomfortable tonight. Philly's ball movement was just atrocious. How many assists did they? I got to look that up. How many assists did they finish with?
They had 13.
Which
Jesus.
is not good on a horrible shooting. 31 made field goals. They only had 13 assists. Celtics 26 assists on 43 field goals, which is double of what they had. That just goes to show you the pressure of the Celtics defense. I thought it was huge because we questioned this on the podcast yesterday, Jack. And then we also said this on the last post-game show. Joe Mazzulla needs to make adjustments. We need to see adjustments made by Joe Mazzulla. We saw that tonight, Finn.
Grant Williams. Grant Williams is your answer.
Oh, yeah.
I've been saying it, Grant Williams. In order for the Celtics to make a deep run, Grant Williams needs to be at least a 20-minute player. And I feel like he's shown that he can be that guy. He showed it last playoffs. Obviously he had a couple rough stretches in the regular season, but when Grant's playing Grant basketball, his value to the Celtics team is very high. Tonight coming into this game, I was very happy when he checked in, and there was stretches where Rob Williams was getting sitting on the bench for extended minutes, and Grant was getting that run, and I'm not mad about it just because of the result. Grant did incredibly in the corner shooting the ball, but he also made some good passes too. When he would get the ball in the paint, he was making some kick out passes, getting some hockey assists. So I'm very stoked about the way Grant Williams played, and I hope that continues.
Yeah, for sure, Finn. I mean, 29 minutes for Grant. I mean, that's a number we haven't seen in I don't know how long it's been since he's got 15 plus minutes. So seeing him get 29 minutes tonight, it was really, really reassuring to see, I think, for a lot of Celtics fans, to see that he hasn't completely lost the trust of the coaching staff and his teammates, which is what we were starting to kind of speculate in. It all really started, that Cavs game. But, I mean, Grant Williams, props to him, man. I mean, what he's gone through this year, I mean, going from practically falling out of the rotation to coming in what was in all likelihood a must-win game. I mean, playing 29 minutes, 12 points, 4 boards, 4 assists. I mean, I don't know if you can ask much more for him. And, I mean, the fact that Jason Tatum scored 7 points and we just mopped the floor with these guys. I mean, you have Brown scored 25, Smart scored 15, Grant 12, Brogdon 23, Derek 15. I mean, there's so many guys on this team that can score. I mean, the first 11 guys on these roster could be rotational pieces for any team.
So that's something I kind of touched on, and I think us as a collective team touched on before this series was it's not really going to be up to Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Embiid, and Harden. It's going to be up to the other guys, and I think the Celtics have handled themselves very well off the bench. Game 1, they outscored Philly's bench 26-12. Game 2 tonight, our bench had 54 points to Philly's 36. So an 18-point advantage and a 14-point advantage in game 1. That's absolutely huge for the Celtics. And to have a guy like Grant Williams, like Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, six man of the year, scoring 23 off the bench, 6 of 10 on threes. That is astronomically big for the Celtics. And I don't think other teams are this deep. I don't think the Sixers are this deep, although Melton had a phenomenal game 1. I just feel as if the Celtics made the correct adjustments. I think the players stayed locked in, even the bench players. And something that Mazzulla touched on was game 1, 26 three-point attempts. That's rare for this team to shoot anything under 90 attempts. Tonight, the Celtics shot 51 attempts on threes, and they made 20, Ian. That's a lot of three-pointers.
Hey, this is what the Celtics offense was built around. I understand why they wanted to take so many shots in the paint last game because Joel Embiid wasn't playing, but this is what the Celtics offense is at their best. So the fact that they shot 52 threes tonight doesn't surprise me, and the fact that they made 21 of them is even better. And it helps when the 76ers completely forget how to shoot threes because they shot 6 of 30, which is insane.
Yeah.
And in a way, the 76ers kind of stayed in the game in game one because of their three-point shooting.
Yeah,
and the Celtics didn't shoot the threes. So, it's just kind of crazy how much the three-point shot can, swing the outcome of a game.
Also, going back to the 76ers depth, before the game, like TNT was saying that Doc Rivers was giving a lot of credit to his bench for game one. He was talking about Melton and Niang and McDaniels. But, like, if you look at tonight, they just weren't there. Like, I'm pretty sure Niang, he put like 3 minutes, and he's borderline unplayable. He's a matchup nightmare. Like, if he's on Jason Tatum, and he's just going to get destroyed in the pick and roll. So, like, if you look at the Celtics bench, they don't have a Brogdon and a Rob Williams off the bench or a Grant Williams. So, I think the only way they could beat the Celtics is if, Joel Embiid gets back to scoring 30 a game and Harden can drop his 25 and 11. But I just don't see the mobility in Joel Embiid. Like, you bring him onto the perimeter, he's got that chunky leg brace, like the one Rob Williams had last year. And we saw how that went. So,
he looked like he was grabbing it multiple times.
Yeah. Joel really looked. I mean, I don't know if they rushed. I mean, it was kind of weird, the whole situation leading up to today around 4:00. I mean, we didn't really think he was going to play. I mean, he was listed as doubtful, and then he gets the MVP award, and I guess he's fine. And I mean, I don't know if they rushed it or something, but he really didn't look like. I mean, I know he's coming off an injury, so I know you're not going to get right back to that production you're used to seeing from him. But by no means I expected him to drop 40 tonight, but he just really looked like a shell of himself. Like the Celtics just didn't look scared of him. I mean, I know he had a lot of blocks in the first half. I think it was 5, the most in his career and a half. But other than that, I mean, he was practically non-existent tonight. I mean, 27 minutes, 15 points. I mean, 0 assists, only 3 rebounds. I mean, that is
something that you very rarely see is when you look at the injury report, it's very rare you see somebody, at least in the same day, go from doubtful to available. It is very rare. Maybe questionable, maybe probable, but not doubtful. Doubtful means I'll play. And it also seemed as if he made his own decision, as there was multiple reports going around that after Embiid won the award last night, he was telling his teammates, I'm back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. So that's all, a little questionable. I want to see his availability for game 3. I think he'll play. I mean, he's getting going back home. Game 3, big game. You definitely, if you're Philly, you definitely want to go up 2-1. You have home court advantage on your side. I believe they're doing the MVP presentation prior to the game. So I feel as if he'll definitely want to get some momentum off of that. But, guys, I want to bring up the third quarter tonight because the third quarter in the playoffs for the Celtics, they had this is via Brian Barrett, these stats I'm about to read you. Third quarter Celtics, 104.1 offensive rating. They're 15th. Only Brooklyn was worse, and they got swept in the first round. 119.3 defensive rating. That's best for 10th. Minus 15.2 net rating, 15th. Only the Clippers were worse, and they lost in 5 games. Tonight, the Boston Celtics in the third quarter outscored the Philadelphia 76ers by 19, 35-16. Celtics went into the halftime break up 8. They ended up finishing the third quarter on a 19-5 run. And I believe it was a 29-point game going into the fourth. I mean, that is such a big third quarter, Ian, that the Celtics were able to go on it. And I felt like a name we haven't mentioned yet tonight. He struggled early on. He struggled in game 1. It was Derek White in that third quarter.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of crazy to think about because normally the Celtics are known for not playing well in the third quarter. They're known for going into halftime and then starting out slow in the third quarter. In this game, I don't know what changed, but I mean, they just went absolutely insane. And then they had that stretch around the end of the quarter where they hit like 8 threes in a row between like Brogdon and White and Grant and Jalen, and everybody was going crazy. And like I think the craziest thing about it, and we've already mentioned it, but like Jason Tatum did not have a good game. He was in foul trouble this entire game, and the Celtics still blew them out. And in that third quarter, I think Jason Tatum, he got his fourth foul with like 7 minutes left in the third or something like that. And there was a lot of time left in the third quarter. And normally in that situation, you would think, okay, the Celtics might be in a little bit of trouble here. But no, everybody else stepped up. Malcolm Brogdon was absolutely huge, hitting 6 3-pointers in this game. I mean, this is the Celtics team that we all thought was going to be the team that just blew through everybody in the playoffs. If the Celtics can play this way more than once, in multiple games in a row, if they can play this game multiple games in a row, which, you can't always expect because, sometimes it's just not going to happen. But if they can play this brand of basketball where they just continuously harp on their defense and then they just continuously make their shots, I mean, that kind of sounds like a pretty basic plan, but you know what I mean. If the Celtics can play the way they played tonight, then they'll do really well with the rest of this series, and I think they can steal a game in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I mean, it's just these types of wins is like why we get so upset over these just pathetic losses. I mean, tonight we saw what this team is capable of, and
my coffee is gonna taste great tomorrow morning, boys.
Give me that large ice with almond milk.
That coffee's gonna taste great tomorrow morning, boys.
So remember, Rob, we talked about this on the podcast yesterday, how we would love if Boston could hold Philly to 80 or 95, 97, 99 points. Tonight, they held Philly to 87 points, Rob.
Yeah. So, I got a couple of things I wanted to say. I was watching it. I had to come on. I had to say a couple of things. Thing one, Jaylen Brown was phenomenal tonight. He had that look in his eye that was like, there's no way in hell I'm losing this game. That's huge, especially because Tatum he was shaky tonight. He's gone to foul trouble, couldn't find a rhythm. JB was phenomenal. Second thing, the Celtics played physical with Embiid. Embiid's pretty banged up right now. It's very clear, grabbing at that knee all game. He's not going to want to play physical. Grant was phenomenal. Flowers to Grant Williams because he was great. We talked about that on the podcast. And then everyone stepped up, and it was kind of a game where you knew we were going to win. It's just how are we going to win it? Were we going to see the adjustments in Joe? Were we going to see everyone kind of locked in? You saw that. And for the rest of the playoffs from here on out, the Celtics should use this game as the blueprint to success. You want to know how to win a basketball game in the playoffs? You go back, and this is the film you're watching. The switching, there was no drop coverage. It hardly happened. We were playing 98 feet of tough physical defense. In the offense, it was smooth. It was fluent. The ball was getting swung and kicked. And Joe said in his post game that the offense fed off the defense. So overall, it was like the ideal game too. However, Philly, end of the day, they did their job on the road in Boston. They took one. So now we got to go take one at their place. And I'm looking for the same thing, Game 3. If we can keep our foot on the gas for Game 3, playing the exact same way, it's going to be tough for Philly to beat us. Really tough.
Yeah, the same thing, but you need Tatum to score more than 7 points.
Yeah,
for sure. But I shouldn't be streaming and driving. That's bad. I just want to come on, say a few things. And goddamn, that coffee is gonna taste phenomenal. I'll see you boys.
Let's go.
Unless
Get
you
you,
get
Rob.
Duncan. Right.
We always go on Duncan over here, Justin.
All
Always
right,
Duncan.
listen.
I better see you with your ice Duncan tomorrow.
No, we'll see. No Duncan for me. But listen, this was absolutely huge for the Celtics. And I'm going to be honest with you. 36 points is a big win, right? Like you're Philly, you were able to squeak one by, like, okay, like by the skin of your teeth. No Joel Embiid, that's huge. You get Joel Embiid back, fully healthy, no excuses. You're not going to get him 100%, but at the same time, guess what? That was your choice to play him tonight. You decided to go through it. You lost by 36. You got punched in the throat. You did do your job and at least take one on your home on the road, but at the same time, now you got to go home and you have to figure out, you have to move on from this 36-point win. Don't get too happy, right, guys? If you're the Celtics, like if you're not going to get too low on the lows, you can't get too high on the highs, right?
No, I mean, we've seen blowout wins like this. I mean, I know it's like this means I don't know how to word this. The margin this win, I don't think means as much as like people might blow it up to be. I mean, for me, just a win is a win. I mean,
Right.
the score at the end of the day doesn't matter. If you win the game. So, yeah, I really hope Celtics it would be such a Celtics thing to do to go into Philly for game 3 and just flop.
I mean, Celtics they're 3-0 coming off losses in the playoffs now.
Yeah.
So, like, they respond.
Yeah. No, that is one thing about the Celtics. I brought it up yesterday, is that they will respond. They will punch you in the mouth if you think they are down. They will get back up, and they will fight you tooth and nail. And, like, this team, it's just, like, we've seen them bounce back. We've seen them fight back. I just want to see them put these guys to bed. I mean, that would just be, if we can win this, if we can just go into Philly, and I think if we win on what day is game 3?
Friday.
If we win Friday, I think the series is over.
What?
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I think if we win, no, you go, Jack. You go.
If coming off a 36 point, just think about it.
I know.
36 points.
Margin doesn't matter.
And then I know, but I'm just, but for us it doesn't. But
Right.
if you're from the 76er side, you're like, holy shit, we just got kicked by 36 points.
Right.
It's like, and then you drop one at home right after that. It's just from a
demoralizing.
That has to be demoralizing. So for Philly, I really think this is a must win for them coming up.
But what if Philly responds in game 4?
Then to me, it's like the Bucks series all over again.
Yeah.
Like Celtics are clearly the better team. If they lose, I'm assuming they just can't perform down the stretch.
Right.
But I think they're gonna at least get one game in Philly. But if it's 2-2, you go back to Boston. Who knows, right? Like you could have the Trae Young thing all over again.
You could have the Bobby Portis of last.
Somebody
exactly.
Portis.
Drew Holiday, the Jimmy Butler.
But
I mean, my big thing is like, it would prove so many people wrong if they can just go into Philly and win this game comfortably. By no means am I hoping for, like, obviously I'd love for them to win by 30, 20 again, but by no means am I expecting that. I'm expecting Philly to
respond.
Come back, respond, exactly. And I'm expecting them to come out swinging.
Right.
But if the Celtics can just dodge a couple punches from them and just play the basketball they played tonight, I mean, I don't see them losing.
I mean, here's the thing: playoffs and regular season, you can't compare them, especially when you have a rivalry and two franchises and fan bases like the Celtics and Sixers. But at the same time, like, Celtics have been able to withhold every punch Philly has thrown throughout this season, regular season and postseason. Unfortunately, Celtics crumbled in the last minute of this game one, and that's, they lost the game. But every punch Philly threw, even tonight, like every time Philly cut it down to 6, Boston was able to put it right back up to 13.
Right.
Like that's really, really important. And a 36-point win. I know we were just talking about, margins don't matter, but I mean, that matters. 36 points is crazy
Right.
in a playoff game. Like that's a pretty good beatdown in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Whenever you're getting everybody's best shot. So for the Celtics, it was just about responding, and it was about, okay, Philly stole that game one. We had that game one. We could be up 2-0 right now pretty comfortably, but instead we're not. We are the ones playing catch up in this series on our own home court. So the Celtics took that punch, they took that blow, and they didn't let that affect them, and they came out with a 36-point win. And I know the series is tied. We're not leading, but Finn, you have to feel pretty good in terms of what we saw from the Celtics. The adjustments were made. The Celtics were able to stay locked in for basically a whole 48 minutes, I'd like to say, and come out with this win.
Yeah, I mean, Celtics are just a better team. When both teams are at their best, the Celtics are better, and that's no question. And I totally agree with Jack. I think, there's no reason why the Celtics shouldn't be able to go down to the Wells Fargo and win comfortably. Like, if the Celtics play Celtics basketball, the 76ers stand no chance. Like, especially tonight, you look at the third quarter, there's just no answer, right? Because you get Jason Tatum out of the game with foul trouble, and Jaylen Brown's cooking. You take Jaylen Brown out, then you have Malcolm Brogdon. You got Derek White who starts to heat up, and maybe Al Horford will finally get into some rhythm. So, yeah.
But like we all know though, the only thing that can beat the Celtics is themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the only thing that can beat the Celtics is themselves. Joel Embiid, he was. I don't know how he'll perform in Game 3, but if he performs similarly to the way he performed in Game 2, it's going to be rough for Philly because he was kind of the definition of a ball stopper. Anytime he got the ball, the offense just stopped for Philadelphia. So, it's going to be one of those things where it's like, Joel Embiid's not 100% healthy. You don't know what you're always going to get from James Harden. I mean, he had 45 in Game 1 and had 12 in this game. So you don't know what you're going to get with him. You don't know what you're going to get from Maxey. You don't know what you're going to get from Harris. You don't know what you're going to get from anybody. So if you're the Celtics, if you can continuously, just pay attention and just stay focused, there's nobody else that can beat them outside of themselves. It's pretty simple. I don't know. It feels simple, but it's never going to be simple because it's just the way the Celtics are.
This was the largest defeat in Sixers history in the playoffs. 30 points to the Boston Celtics. Of course, it figures like Sixers fans are like, it couldn't have happened against any other team but the Celtics. I mean, look, like we've seen game ones before. We saw game ones last year. Against Milwaukee, we dropped game one. Against Miami, we dropped game one. Remember 2018 or 2019 against Milwaukee? We blew out the Bucks in Milwaukee, and then we got swept the next 4 games. Like game ones, I feel like, and then we saw Orlando beat Milwaukee. We saw Orlando beat Toronto. Like we just saw the Lakers. I mean, Lakers are on another level right now, playing on another level. But like we saw the Lakers take down the Warriors, the Kings 2-0 on the Warriors. So, you take games one with a grain of salt. It's more like a feeling out game. Unless you freaking win by 36 points, then it's like, all right, something's going on here. But series is tied. Sixers have home court. Celtics just going to go in and take one, even up the series. I'd prefer to take game 3 over 4. And that's because I'd rather be in control of the series. I'd rather not play from behind and play with the, oh crap, we could go down 3-1 instead of going up 3-1. But Celtics take a huge win here by 36 tonight, 121-87. Jaylen Brown led the way with 25 points. Malcolm Brogdon, 23, 6 threes off the bench. Tatum's night was limited, 19 minutes, 7 points with 4 fouls. Hey, a night your star player only plays 19 minutes and you win by 36. Hell yeah, you'll take that. Celtics and Sixers, they're back in action Friday night, May 5th, 7:30 p.m. This time, I believe it's on ESPN instead of TNT. I'm Justin. That's Finn. That's Jack. That's Ian. Finn, we'll go down the line with you, Jack, then Ian. Any closing thoughts, any final remarks before we head out?
You take game 3 and it's over.
Yeah, that's where I stand as well.
Ian?
Just win.
Make open shots.
You're 5 wins down. You have 11 to go. That's pretty much it.
Preach.
Exactly.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. We'll be back here Friday night for Celtics Postgame Live. Again, I'm Justin. That's Finn. That's Jack. And that's